Fantastic. Just letting everyone know we're recording this session. All right, I think we've got one more person joining. All right, well, thank you everyone for joining this session. I'm Rochelle Abeywickrama, and I'll be your host today. And this is the Tech Voices Spotlight series, and this is organized by Diversity Collective Lanka, or DCLK. And the aim of DCLK is to empower women in Sri Lanka to pursue careers in IT and BPM sectors. And this specific Spotlight series is a platform where we can shine a light on talented women in Sri Lanka tech and BPM sectors. And before we get started, I do want to remind everyone to please keep yourselves on mute. You're more than welcome to use the chat function and ask questions, and we actually encourage you to. So you don't have to wait till the end. You've got about 15-20 minutes at the end where we'll take your questions. But if you have any, just fire right away, put it in the chat, and we'll pick it up at the end. And the Woman of the Month is Rochelle Abeywickrama. We're really pleased to have her here. She's an associate lead in quality engineering at Wiley. She's got a bachelor's degree from Uni of Colombo and a master's degree from Cardiff Metropolitan University, UK, both specializing in IT. She's also an ISTQB certified test manager with over 5 years of IT industry experience. So she's quite well versed with anything testing and automation related. She's also a very analytical thinker. She's great at stakeholder management and has a strong engineering background. So we're really pleased to have you here. A warm welcome to Rochelle. So to kick us off, Rochelle, tell us a little bit about how you got into IT. What got you kind of, hooked? Over to you, Rochelle.
Thanks, Renee. So first of all, thank you for having me. And yeah, getting into the tech industry it was kind of a dream that I had. And I also had this interest of joining into the tech industry, but it was a coincidence that I got this opportunity to step into the tech. But before that, as a school leaver, I started from the non-IT industry. So there is a long story behind before joining into the tech. Yeah, we will talk about it in the latter part.
Yeah, okay. So, and so when you got into tech, I guess there were so many different roles. What drew you to QA in particular? Did you consider any other roles as well?
When it comes to tech, I was interested in coding, but still I wasn't not that very coder type. So I thought QA would be my best interest. And also the opportunity that I got was related to automation. So that was testing plus coding. So that was a great opportunity that I had, and I took it.
Okay. So it looks like then you really looked at your skill set. So, I'm good at this, I'm an analytical thinker. I, like to solve problems. I like the QA part, plus I like the coding, and automation testing kind of brought it together for you.
Yeah, Sarah.
Yeah. And you said also your first opportunity you got was QA. So it just kind of happened that way, do you think?
It just happened. So I was actually looking for openings in the tech industry, but that was the first opportunity that I got. And it was the first interview I faced in the industry. So that was quite a challenge. Plus, I succeeded. So that's how I get into.
Great work. And so when you stepped into QA, what did you find were your initial roles and responsibilities? Was it what you were thinking?
I had no experience in the industry when I jumped into this QA role. So I had to learn everything from scratch. So even though we studied in theory, we had no exposure to like what do you actually expect by testing. Automation was totally something like it was totally new for me. And with the role only, I got the exposure to automation, and I started learning from the very beginning. So even though you get to learn things in your diplomas, degrees, but in the industry, it's very different. So you need to jump into the pool to learn to swim. So you need to you need to put yourself into trouble. So that's what I did.
So you dove right into the deep end.
Yeah.
No better way to learn. So now you mentioned, so automation was quite different to perhaps what you had said. So how did you actually build on that? How did you feel comfortable?
So, I am a quite bit of a researcher, and I used to self-learn. So when it comes to this opportunity that I got, I didn't want to let it down because I wanted to learn it from the scratch, and I had to put some extra effort because I joined into this particular. I took this opportunity while I was following up my final year of the degree. So I had to balance both my studies and work. And for the industry also, I was very fresh, and I had to spend more extra time and more extra effort on learning things. So when it comes to automation and stuff, I had to refer tutorials, and I had to practice my own. So that is how, and also I had a set of colleagues and at my workplace, especially the mentors that I followed. So they have been supporting me a lot to build up my skills and get into the place.
Okay. And when you started doing some of that self-learning, Rochelle, I mean, even there, how did you know where to start? If for someone who's already in it now might know, okay, I can go to maybe edX or Coursera. How did you get into it and figure out where to go?
First of all, so I first need to understand what are the tech stack and what are the areas I need to focus. That I first need to understand what are the skills that I need to fit into that particular role, and to for that, so I did some research and I found out some tutorials by my own. And also, as like I said, I had a lot of mentors. Like, it's not just one. So for my tech skills, for my management skills, for all the skills that I felt like I'm weak and I need to improve, I reached out to them. And they have been supporting me and guiding me. Okay, you need to go through these things, you can refer these things. And so they have been guiding me throughout the career. So that was the foundation. So you need to put the foundation, the base strong. So I think I got it got the support from the mentors. Plus, I did had to put some extra effort on that.
Okay, so that's great. So you were quite open to learning new things. You weren't kind of, you didn't sort of feel overwhelmed by it. You sort of took it on and chipped away at it.
I think in the tech industry, if you're a free thinker and if you're curious to learn, and then this tech industry is a good platform to you, because if not, it's hard to survive in this industry.
Good point. And also, so now we've got sort of the hard technical skills that you were able to learn. How about some of the other skills? So your sort of power skills. Can you tell us, say communication, negotiation, how did you work on those sort of skill sets as well?
Rooney, so like I said, as a school leaver, I did not, joining the tech industry was not the first opportunity that I got. So as a school leaver, I want, like, even though I had the interest of joining the industry, I wasn't really ready with the skill set. So I first wanted to have the skill set polished and build myself before joining into the industry. So I started, so my first job was a finance officer. And there I worked with, like, mostly I worked with the finance audits, and it's more like stakeholder management. So I think that was the first opportunity that I got to reach out to people and communicate and coordinate with them and build up that particular skill. So that was the foundation of building up the communication and people management. And with that, again, I joined another company where I worked as a client coordinator. So that gave me a bit of a more exposure to, so it was a multinational company where I had a set of foreign clients. So that was a bigger exposure that I had. I had to work with foreign clients and with different cultures, especially. So that was another good opportunity. I took for myself, and it was quite challenging too, because working with foreign clients, it's not that easy. So so I think because of the challenges I took during those days, and overall in the non-IT career, I think I do have nearly 5+ years of experience. So that was quite a plus point when I joined this industry, because by that time I was able to handle many people, and I used to learn I used to study people during the time I worked with them, and when I get into the industry, so I was able to understand how people used to think and how to work in an environment like that.
Okay, so you actually had a head start then. So when your other peers from your degree were coming out into the industry, they may not have had that work experience, but you already had some work experience, even if it's not in tech.
Yes.
And so when you were going for those interviews, maybe going for your first job in IT, did you see a difference between your experience and maybe your other peers' experience who don't have previous jobs?
Yes. So for me, it was a great heads up, because I was more ahead with the experience, even though it was non-IT, but I had the experience of working with people. So that's something very important you need to learn, and you need to, but with working with many people, you get to know about their perspective, that there are different perspectives of people, the cultures, and work may be same, but the people will be different. So you need to fit into any environment and do your work. So that experience I had, which was lacking for some of my colleagues, like even though we were in the same batch, I was a bit ahead.
Yeah, and sometimes I think in the IT field, we may focus on really hard technical skills and not pay as much attention to some maybe, teamwork or collaboration, communication, empathy, those sort of power skills, which really help you work better with people. And
Yes.
in IT, we work in such team-based environments. So those are quite useful skills, which you had already by the time you got into tech. Fantastic.
Yes.
So now you were also you were working while you were studying, right? Was that
Yes.
okay? So were you able to, so while you were studying and working, were you able to perhaps use some of those things that you were learning in work at your uni, or the things that you were using at uni in work?
Well, I was able to use some of the technical skills that I applied during the work for my final research during my degree program, because it was the final year when I joined my first job in IT. So that was quite helpful for me to so I've been working in the industry, and I get to see applications and the tech stacks. So that was very helpful when I was planning on my final research.
Okay, so you got a little bit of exposure into tech as well, even though you were working in a non-tech area. So would you say, to other maybe young people looking at doing degrees or are in the middle of their degrees, would you encourage them to work as well?
Yeah, I mean, in some projects, some degree programs, the internship is a mandatory, but for me, it was not mandatory. So what I say is, even though it's not mandatory, but it's better if you can take a chance and start the internship while you're doing your studies, because as soon as you complete your degree, then you will be able to step into the industry as a degree holder instead of starting from being an intern, even though you have a degree. So that would be a very plus point if you start an internship maybe while you are following up your final year. It is hard to manage. It is hard to manage, but you need to come up with a plan and prioritize your work and balance your life.
Yeah, good advice. Now, I know that you maybe used to be a little bit more shy. So while you got into industry and you had to meet all these new people, learn all these new tools, how did you overcome that?
So yeah, I actually told you that I was quite a shy kid during my school days. So my circle was very small. But then again, I had this fear of meeting new people, moving into the crowd. So I knew that was a weakness that I had. So I actually took it up as a challenge, and I wanted to work on it. So actually, the very first thing I did was even I was working with people and all, I started reaching out to people instead of being that shy type kid. So when you're reaching out, being a woman, there are things you need to consider. So even though you need to, by being very careful with people, I was being able to maintain that professional connections between the people, and I started reaching out to them. And by getting to know people, they also started reaching out to me, and there was this professional connections, and the network started expanding. And then somehow that shyness was gone, and I was meeting people and I was talking to them.
Okay. So it sounds like you really took a lot of time over years and you practiced, right, to overcome your shyness.
Yes, a bit of time.
Okay. So that's really interesting because sometimes, we want things to change really fast, but usually any kind of skill you're learning, whether it's an automation tool or whether it's to overcome shyness, it's usually years and years, hours and hours of practice.
Yeah.
Um, and so with the shyness, were there times, you were trying all of these things, were there times you felt a bit defeated, though you had to keep pushing on?
Yeah, so there were a lot of times, especially when I was actually applying for new opportunities and I had to face interviews. So to be frank, I have been rejected from many interviews because of different various reasons. So it can be the skill sets they were looking into, but I wasn't not ready, and maybe I was not very prepared for the interviews to face. So these kind of things, I actually, so even though I got rejected from many of the interviews, but I did not stop. I actually got the learnings from those failures, and then I actually started building up myself. So so by by understanding where you went wrong and correcting them in the next interview or whatever the next opportunity you get, so that is something you should improve from yourself, and that is something I actually advise the freshers and new joinees coming into the industry. It's not just the tech, it can be any industry, but first you need to understand your weaknesses, and even though you get rejected, you should not stop right there. You should take it up as a challenge and you should move on. You should take up the next opportunity by learning from the past.
Great advice. And I'm hearing that you're probably a very resilient person. You don't give up.
Not easily.
Now, you also mentioned, reaching out to people and your networks. Can you tell us a little bit about, how you use those networks for maybe some of your job progression or learning things? Give us a little bit more input into that.
Yeah, so talking about the networks, professional connections that I have. So even though I've been working for multiple companies, and uh, I have studied during my degree program and my master's. So I have met a lot of people, and even though we don't really associate in a daily basis, we used to have that connection, right? We have social medias, and we have a lot of platforms to get connected. So even though we don't get a chance to talk daily or get connected, we still have that connection built up with each other. And especially with like, even though I don't have much friends from my school days, but I do have a lot of connections nowadays with the places that I have worked with. So those connections are still with me, and we used to like having strong connections with the people, professional connections. I'm saying, repeating that word again, because when it comes to these connections, as women, we tend to put ourselves in trouble as well. So there are some occasions that sometimes it's intimidating, but you need to be very careful when you're building up the connections before you, like, you need to get to know about the people. So the connections that I have, the people that I have picked, and the connections that I have built up, so they are very known to me, and they're very professional, and they have been with me for support. They have been supporting and guiding throughout my career, and even they have come to me reaching for advices, so that I have helped them a lot. Likewise, so it's giving and taking. So those kind of qualities, I think it was very helpful for me to build up that professional connection network. So yeah, I think being a woman, it's you should not stop being a woman. Like there are no restrictions or boundaries, but you need to make sure that you are safe, and you need to be very careful with the connections, but still don't make it a boundary, and keep on moving with the people around. It's good to get to know a lot of people around.
And networking really does open up your circle. And when you know someone, you actually can then get introduced to other people that they know as well. And so your network sort of expands. And like you said, it's give and take. So when someone knows you, you can get them in touch with your network too. And to your point about, about women and networking, this is something that holds women back in male-dominated environments like in IT, because even if it's, if to build your network, some people don't receive it that way. And I know that women, we always have that in our mind. I'm just reaching out for a professional connection, but sometimes we don't know how it's received. And I think just like you said, you can drop the boundaries. You can tell them, be quite clear about that this is a professional network or relationship you're seeking. And after that, I guess, you can't really control what other people do. And, sometimes it requires hard conversations as well to say, sorry, that's not what I meant. This was a professional connection.
Yes, sometimes there have been occasions like that. So you need to be very conscious on those type of connections. And if you need to drop that connection, don't hesitate to do that, because it will make you uncomfortable, and it should not be in that way.
Yeah. And we'd also encourage men to have professional networks with other women too, because really we're in this industry together, and we want to build a great industry in Sri Lanka as a whole, right? And so if we can all promote that, that'd be great.
Yes, it's not just women. There are, like, it's vice versa. So that can be happen to men as well. So both the parties should understand what kind of a connection it is. So that is how you need to build up your bonds during your professional career.
Yeah. And do you use any tools or platforms for these connections?
Yeah, I actually use LinkedIn as my professional platform connections, and I maintain that platform only. But I do know there are a lot of other platforms as well, but I'm very much familiar with LinkedIn.
Yeah. And even when you move from, one company to another, it's a nice way to keep in touch with your ex-colleagues and friends as well, isn't it?
Definitely. So even though you leave a company, your connections will not be dropped. So that is up to you to maintain those connections and continue with the bonds you have already made. And also the positive side of LinkedIn that I see is that you can maintain your profile. So there are recommendations, your work history, and everything is there. So you don't need to separate CV for your job opportunity. And also maintaining your profile in the LinkedIn is a bit like, you should be keeping that profile up to date, because you never know when you get an open to an opportunity. So there are recruiters out there, there are people who are seeking for opportunities. And so, yeah, so LinkedIn is a good platform. And also they provide LinkedIn Learning. So that is also a good way of free learning. And I encourage all the freshers, not just the freshers, everyone in the industry should always learn. Always learning is something we should be continuously doing in this industry.
Yeah, a lot of companies also encourage that, don't they? The continuous learning mindset.
Yeah.
And can you tell us a little bit about, so your networks and your mentors in particular, have you been able to sort of build some mentors in as well? And how did you go about that? How did that happen?
Yes, talking about the mentors. So when I first started my career in the first, when I was doing my first job, I had no experience in the industry, like I said. So the mentors were there, and so yeah, it's again up to you to select who your mentor would be, because someone can appoint you. Okay, this person will be your mentor and guiding you during your first few months, maybe. But it's again up to you. Like, first you need to identify what are the skills you need to improve, and you may feel like, okay, this set of people are like really techie guys, and this set of people are good in management skills. So it's not having just one mentor. You can have multiple mentors to be fitting into, but development skill you want to improve from yourself. So that is how I selected my own mentors, because even though I was also assigned with many mentors, but I think I picked my own, and I'm really glad that I picked them, because I still remember some of the advices they have given to me during my career, and it has been a great it has been at some point in life that has been kind of a ladder to me, because when you're building up the career, you need advice, you need guidance, because it's not a journey that you can just walk alone. So once I was told that I've been like this mentor, I'm really respecting this person. So we still do have the connections with each other, even though we are not working together. And he's abroad now, but he used to tell me that I was working good, but being silent is not going to work in this industry. You need to market yourself. So that piece of advice, I think I got this advice during my first year of the tech industry. So I still remember it, and I'm still working on it. And yeah, that has been like, that was just one example. So there has been a lot of people that I've been following and reaching out for guidance. So many people have been helped me. So the person who I am today is partially they have helped me, and they have guided me throughout this career. So kudos to them as well.
Mm. And I think that's something a lot of people don't realize, that, your career is also just not a singular, it's not one person. It's really, the strength of your network, the strength of your mentors. And like you were saying, seeking out those mentors as well. I like how you said, there's that the formal mentorship, but then there's also the informal, that you can seek them out, and you may not call them mentor, but they still do mentoring activities, and you have to take the ownership to keep reaching out. So very smart to have done that. And I think that's very good advice for people at any point in their career, whether it's beginning, middle, or towards the end. So much is on your network. And in terms of, so hearing about career opportunities and things like that, were maybe any of the, jobs that you found through networks?
Yeah, actually, when I was looking for opportunities, I've been like, the first thing I used to do was checking on LinkedIn profile for job opportunities. And then there are a lot more ways that we can find out about the jobs. So having these networks and these connections have helped me while I was picking up the opportunities where I got. That is because so most of the companies, we don't tend to see the inside picture of that particular company. So when you're looking, so as a person, so taking about myself, and it will be my point of view. So I am actually looking for very flexible, friendly environments. And I do look at the company structure when I'm looking for opportunities. And so everyone looks for the pay scale and advancements. So that is something we actually need to look into. And so basically what should be we are looking from the opportunities is that you need to be comfortable to work in that place. So it's not always it's not going to be a short-term decision you're going to make. It can be a long-term decision. So that decision is something you need to like select by going through those details. So those details, those things won't be published in any websites or anything. So having close connections with the people who, like, maybe your colleague will be working in that particular company, so you will definitely reach out to that person and ask, okay, how are the things, what are the domains you are working, what are the tech stack. All these things we are going to clarify with that person, not with the HR or someone from that, any official from that company. So those kind of things, actually, from my side, those are the things that I'm looking into when I'm looking for an opportunity. So I think those are the main things that everyone is looking into.
Yeah, thanks, Rochelle. And to change topics a little bit, so now back in your uni days, you did say you were working and studying. So that was taking on a full load. So you were completely stretched. How did you manage your schedule? Can you give us some tips?
So at the very beginning, I was also struggling with how to manage my work, because it takes some time. So you need to get into trouble and then find your own ways of getting things organized and all. So so I used to prioritize my work. I also used to follow this Eisenhower matrix, where you can categorize your work according to the importance and urgency. So that was kind of a tip that I wanted to give it to everyone, because you may have a list of work to do, but it's not always in top priority. So you need to understand what are the priorities and what's the importance and urgency, and you need to have a maybe sort of a backlog. Maybe you can have a small notebook and just note down your work and prioritize according to that, and take up the urgent stuff, important stuff on top of the list, and you should start working on that. So it will be tough during the first few days, weeks, maybe, until you fit yourself into that particular metrics. But then again, it will be very helpful with time. When you start practicing on it, it will be very helpful. And so when you're managing your work, so we are working in this industry, we need to, there are a lot of things that comes into our plate without, most of the things are unplanned. So you need to take the ownership and the responsibility of that work. So the priority and importance is also there, but still, if you get some work to be done, you need to take the full ownership of that until you complete it. So most of the time, I have seen that people used to give up in the middle of the work, but you should not be like that. So you need whatever the work you started, you need to complete as well. So taking the ownership and until the job is done is up to you. So it will again help you to do your work in a organized way.
Sounds like you have an agile backlog for your day-to-day and you keep prioritizing it.
Yeah, that has been practiced in the office as well. So yeah.
Yeah. And what do you do when you don't know what the priorities are? So sometimes, these streams of work might come from a manager or a peer. What do you do then?
Yeah, you tend to get work with, like, you really don't understand what's the priority of this work. So so in my point of view, I used to reach out to my manager or the scrum master or my colleagues in my team. So I used to reach out and just check for the priority of this task, because if that task is a high priority task, and if I just doesn't consider it, it will be a problem to everyone. So just without going with assumptions, I always reach out to them and clarify things. So that is why communication plays a big role when you're working with teams. And so when you're working in a agile background, maybe, so you're working with teams, and it's not just your work, it's depending on the whole team. So the communication is the key, and especially when you're working from home nowadays. So you need to be up to date, and also you need to keep the others up to date as well.
And so when you're trying to figure out, so now you're a lead, so you're leading teams as well. So sometimes you're the one defining those priorities for your team. And how do you manage people who don't really ask you any questions, so you don't know if they understand priorities?
And I actually, so that is part of my mentoring. So that's how I mentor my juniors and the people who work under me. So I first give them the opportunity to work alone. I give them their own space to work alone, get their hands muddy in the work. But then again, I used to keep my eye on them. Maybe they will not know, but I will still keep my eye on them and reviewing their work. And so if I feel that this person is struggling, but he's not trying to reach out to me, I will ping him, and I'll just ask, are you struggling with this, or do you need any help? So sometimes I have seen people doesn't actually reach out to us, like seeking help. Maybe they'll think that, okay, this person will think that I'm not good enough, or likewise. But you should not be like that. You should not overwhelm yourself with work. You should not stress yourself. If you don't understand, it's okay. It's okay. You can speak up to someone else and just clarify this. Okay, this is quite stressful, or I don't know the priority of this work, so I need some guidance. So there will be people around you can help. You'll get the fullest support. So you just need to reach out.
That's great, because I think sometimes in Sri Lanka, I think people are polite and don't want to ask questions because they feel like they might be challenging authority. But sometimes then they don't really know what to do or the priority of their work.
And also the other thing is that as being a mentor, you need to be open-minded, and you need to be open for their questions as well. If you don't let them ask, like if you keep yourself silent and quite unfriendly, and if you try to be a boss type person, then they will never reach out to you. So that is something that is different from being a boss and a leader. So I would like to become a leader. So I am an open-minded, and I'm free for anyone to reach out to me. So whenever they need guidance and support, they can always come back to me. But in the same time, I want them to try out by themselves. Like you can get yourself into trouble, but even though you need to support them as well, right? Even though you're struggling with your work, but still there is some person looking for help. So at that point of time, you need to just leave some room and give that person a space. So you need to working on yourself is good, but working on building up someone is the best thing, I think. So that is one of the qualities that I have learned from my mentors as well.
That's a really great point, to create that environment where people feel comfortable asking questions. Yeah, I don't think we think about that enough. Yeah. So now we're coming up on, we've got 15 minutes left, so we might jump into questions now, Rochelle. So we've got one from Bimal. Hi, Rochelle. Can you share your views on what can help bring more women into technology careers?
Thanks, Vima, for that question. So my point of view about the industry. So during back then, when we were joining in this industry, there were comparing to nowadays, the percentage of women was less. But nowadays, there are a lot of women. There are a lot of opportunities for women as well. So the thing is that women should step up. So building their own personalities and building their skill sets, and like you should not be shy or putting out boundaries that okay, I'm a woman and I should this industry is not suitable for me. So that is not the case. You need to like I said, as long as you got the ability to learn and curious on problem solving, it doesn't matter what gender you are. So it is always you need to take up that opportunity and go ahead. So it's so in the industry we see a lot of women working towards like being an expert in the IT is not only for men. So it's always there's space for women as well. So but thing is you need to reach out, you need to put that extra effort, walk that extra mile, and go ahead taking up the challenges. So it's again up to the women in this industry and who is keen to join this industry. So it is a good place. You can improve yourself, and you don't need to be scared because there are a lot of women out there to support you, and even DCLK is a good platform. So there are a lot of support and guidance for women nowadays, not like back then. So don't stop challenging yourself. That is what I am giving as an advice to everyone. You need to challenge yourself. If not, you will stay in the same place forever. So you need to get out of that comfort zone and start thriving your goals.
Great encouraging words for women listening in. And I think also lots of companies now are trying to create environments that is better for women by creating perhaps, you know, better pathways for women to come back after maternity leave, and having flexible hours, working from home, so that people can attend to other priorities in life as well. So I think companies are also adjusting. Do you see that change too?
Yes, so that has been changing with time. And nowadays, I've seen a lot of companies providing a lot of benefits. And just wanted to mention that I joined Wiley during my during the start of pandemic. So I've never been to office. So from the very first day, I started working from home. But the flexibility, the opportunities that we were given, the benefits, everything was. Everything was on like it was really good, and I was very happy that in the industry there are companies that providing these benefits, because it's not just always work. You should always focus on people as well, because they are the ones who are taking up your business and working towards the goals. So if you treat the employees in a better way, they will never leave you. So it's again from the employees' perspective also, they should give their best. Like if you don't give your best and expecting for a lot of things, that is not going to work. So it's again you also have to give, and the companies also should be focusing on those.
It's a two-way street, huh?
Everything is two-way.
Yeah. And actually, because we were discussing coaching and mentoring, I see a lot of companies and perhaps Wiley too, because I think they're doing some good work in that space of encouraging women to kind of stay in tech, sort of having formalized pathways of mentorship and coaching. Because like we spoke about before, sometimes it's challenging for women to maintain networks and mentors in a male-dominated environment because of the perception, the cultural perception of male-female, even professional relationships. And so creating a more formal pathway of coaching and mentoring, like I've seen companies do, really does help women to progress in their careers.
Yes, true.
All right, I think we have some more questions that have come through. Okay, so what are the top skills to join the IT industry?
Okay. When you talk about skills, so there are no predefined skills. I don't accept that. But in general, if you speak about the skills, I would say you need to have the problem solving, analytical thinking, and all these type of power skills built within you. And also because we are going to work in an environment where a lot of people from different cultures, and it can be local, foreign. So there will be, it's always, again, you're working with a team. So you need to be able to work with a team, and fitting yourself in that particular team will be given. So those kind of skills, especially the communication and all these power skills, you need to have. So that can be my point of view. But then again, those are the general skills I actually consider as like best to have when you're. It's not just tech. Any industry, those are the things you need to build up as a skill set.
Okay, we've got a couple more questions. How do you choose a company to work for?
Okay. Choosing a company. So while I was looking for opportunities, so is this is this an open question, or is just for me, my point of view?
Just tell us your point of view of how you've gone about it.
Okay, it's like this. I think I already spoke about it. So when I'm looking for opportunities, my main point is that the work environment, it should be a flexible and a friendly environment, because taking up opportunity is always going to be a long term for me, because I don't recommend people to select jobs for 6 months or less than that. So you should not target for that, because it is it's unfair to yourself. Plus, it's unfair for the company that you've been hired for. So it's always you should plan for a long-term plan. And when you're selecting a company, the top point of the priority list would be a flexible environment and a friendly environment, because like I said, I want to reach out to people, and I make my workspace easy for me. So to make that, I need the people around me who used to be friendly and supportive. So that kind of environment is something that I'm looking for. And I also think what are the opportunities that I can get, because so in point of in some stages in your life, you will get a lot of your targets will be changed, and maybe you look for more higher pay scale, more promotions, and when you get qualified with education and professional certifications, you will seek for better opportunities. So if that particular so I'll be looking for companies which identifies those as plus points, and actually appreciate the, like, valuing your skills. So those sorts of things bit important. And also the next thing would be, is there anything new that I could learn? So I will always look for something like, I've been working in the industry for a couple of companies, so I do have a set of skills built within me with the past experience. So I will, without going ahead with the same skill set or tech stack, I would search for something new, because why you are looking for an opportunity is to build up yourself, maybe from the tech skills, maybe from the management skills, or maybe your education level needs to suit with that particular opportunity. So those kind of things, I think in my bucket, I have those things with me.
Yeah, that's great. We've got another. We could take what are the challenges from working from home? Because that's a topical thing for everybody.
So like I said, when I joined Wiley, it was all lockdown, and from the very first day I had to work from home. So that was the first experience in the tech industry where I got to work from home, and it was quite challenging, because I didn't know what the processes of that company, what are like. I haven't met the people whom are working for the team, and I had no understanding of how the work being functioning, or any background of the company. I had no idea, but fortunately I didn't have that feeling that I've been left out. I was given all the opportunities, and so the teams that I have worked with have been very friendly and supportive. Like you always have challenges, like you can't just, you don't have anyone next to you sitting in the next workstation to get some support. So if you're stuck, you definitely have to reach out to someone, put a chat or something, and you need to reach out to someone. If you keep it to yourself, you will struggle alone. But maybe I've been a trouble to my teammates, but I have reached out to them and got their support. Like during the first few months, it was quite challenging, because you need to learn a lot of things and get involved with the processes and the project domains, tools and tech stacks. You need to get an idea. So during the first few months, it was quite challenging, but after some time, once you build up the connections with your team, and once they started putting their confidence on our work, and once we build the confidence between the teammates and the work we are doing, and the ownership we are taking, the responsibilities we are taking, so once that's overall package, once that is being set, working from home is not a challenge, but there are some outsourced challenges as well. The connectivities, you don't get to meet people, and it's always just work, and you need to work extend hours, lot of meetings and all. But you again, it's your priority. It's again coming up to your priorities. So you should, if you can prioritize your work, and so I see this tech industry is very flexible, and Wiley being very flexible as an IT company. So you can plan your work. Maybe if the meetings are scheduled in the evening, you can start work late, and like you can manage your work. So working from home is even though it's challenging, you can make it less challenging if you put some effort and try to put the things on the right place.
So after the pandemic, do you think you'll continue to work from home? What do you think?
That depends. Working from home is a bit easy, because we don't have to travel a lot, and we don't need to expose with a lot of crowds and all. You can save some time without going in the traffic. But then again, you miss the office colleagues, and those chit chats, and having the chilling time. So that is something you need to think of. We'll see.
Yep, a lot has changed, right? Yeah, lots to think about. Okay, another one. So this is what skills do you need to get into specifically a QA role?
Okay, specifically speaking about the QA role, during this, this industry is a fast-growing industry, so so these days we are looking for full stack QEs. So when you are talking about full stack QEs, you need to have experience, like it's good to have experience in the manual testing sides, and automation is the trend nowadays. So you have a lot of tools and technologies, so we should not just focus on improving the quality. You need to think out of the box. So we do have tech skills, like skills in manual testing, okay, and automation skills, and all this defect identification, and managing your work, and all sorts of things like that. But then again, you need to think out of the box. Like, even for example, if I take test designing activities, even if you don't think out of the box, if you don't think of breaking that system, you will not be able to come up with a good coverage of your test design. So it's again like for QEs also, we have tech skills and also the power skills you need to improve.
Good advice, Rochelle. Okay, so I think we've just come up on 7 o'clock. So if we don't have any more questions, let me double check. I think that's it for questions. So we might then wrap up. So thank you so much, Rochelle, for joining and sharing all of your feedback, your thoughts, really interesting viewpoints you have as well. So really appreciate all your inputs, and thank you everybody who joined as well. I hope you had as much fun as I did listening to Rochelle today. So thank you from DCLK.
Thanks, Ronnie, and thanks for everyone. Have a good day. Stay safe.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Ronnie and Rochelle. Great session. For everyone, I will send this session will be recorded, as you know, and put up on our channel. So I will send out an email with all the details. And please, a lot of you expressed wanting to become members of DCLK. I will send the link in, and there's a lovely form there where you can actually be involved. So like Ronnie, you know, who's on the board, we all get involved and run some sections. So if you're interested in running some sessions, being a host, running some webinars, please let us know in the form and we'll get back to you. Thanks, everyone. Ronnie, great session. Thanks, Rochelle, for your time again.
Great. Thanks, Natalie. Thanks, Rochelle.
Thank you.
Bye.